Do we have on?
All right, guys. I want to say welcome to everyone and welcome to our Black Love. It's not Black Love for Singles, it's Singles Let's Talk tonight at our new time. I know a lot of our regulars are used to the 7:30 hour, so sometimes I have to send that reminder out there to them, and hopefully they'll be joining in with us in a little bit. But Mr. Joe, how are things going with you tonight? I don't get a chance to see you until Thursday. So how's everything going with you?
Oh, everything's going good. I just have a thankful attitude, and I think with a thankful attitude, the universe returns abundantly. So I think that's a good preface to move forward with. So I'm doing good.
I love it. I love it. Miss Faith, how are you tonight? We are so enjoying you being back in our presence again. It just makes us feel like a family again.
We've never left family now.
Yes. How are you doing tonight?
I'm good. I'm doing good. Mm-hmm. I'm doing well. Thank you. Thank you for asking.
All right. Well, we've got a caller in. I want to welcome
who is that caller?
Tonight. We're not quite sure. If you want to put your name in the chat box, if you want to change your name on the screen, if you'd like for us to know who you are, you're more than welcome to do that. But if you want to be incognito, that's fine too. That's fine too. Well, we're getting ready to get started tonight. Last week, we kicked off the new year talking about new beginnings and just asking just a few questions as to, you know, how you're going to be looking at the new year, how you plan on kind of moving a little bit different with it. So tonight we're going to continue on with that conversation. But before we kind of move forward, Joe, you normally share with us some good old nuggets to live by. We're going to let Mr. Joe and Mrs. Faith share what's been on your heart and, you know, especially in that single world out there. And maybe we can get jump started on tonight.
Yeah. You know, I think the whole notion is, and you know, we're talking about new beginnings. I think we have to start that within ourselves to know there are new beginnings and that we put the issues of the past behind us. We are a product of our past, but we're not a prisoner of our past. And we don't need to hold ourselves captive. I was listening to Iyanla Vanzant. I can't say her name, but
Iyanla Vanzant.
Yeah, and she was saying about the 4 B's, and I hope I can get these right. She was saying, first of all, breathe.
Yes.
The next thing she said was balance. And I think after that, she was saying, believe and build peace within yourself and take care of business. Be business minded going into 2022. And I thought that's a good way to think about it. But that balance is within the person. We have to balance ourselves out to move forward into the things that the promises of God. And like I say, the promise before you is better than the pain behind you. Yeah. So let's look forward to that. Let's look forward to that and move into that. That's what I would say.
Amen. Love that. Love that. Faith, you have anything that's on your heart and on your mind before we get started?
Oh, well, you know, I'm going into the bag here.
Joe's mighty bag over there.
Yeah. Let's see.
Go into the bag.
I'm going to go into the bag tonight and let me see what we're going to pull out. For those of you that don't know about the bag, Joe has, I think I'm using my mouse. I'm on the wrong computer. Hold on. Okay, so Joe has a bag of wisdom that I'm going to pull out tonight. Let me see. where we're gonna go. I mean, he got a lot of wisdom up in here.
I know, right?
Wait, if we get some money for this, right? Oh, okay, I like this. Okay. All right, Mr. Joe. You're gonna hear your words back, okay?
All right.
Passion is the energy. So we all know what passion is, right?
Right.
What is it? Tell me, Joe.
What is passion?
Right. Yeah,
passion is that thing that drives you, that you would do whether you get paid or not. That's that thing that God put in you. That's something that you and God know about, and it moves you. It moves you in the direction. And again, you'll do it without you'll do it whether you get paid or not, because you're driven by that. It's that very thing that drives you.
Okay. And then can your passion influence others?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yes. I mean, it should be where it benefits others. And the whole idea of basically what we all do, our life here really is to give it away when you think about it. And just that means give it away to others. And
not get any payment for it in money.
Right.
Okay. All right. So based on your definition of what passion is the energy. Okay. Come on, Joe. The energy that fuels your what? Your dreams.
Dreams. Absolutely. Yes.
Yes. I like that. Yeah. So, it's quite appropriate, I think, tonight that I did pull this, because we're talking about our dreams, right? We're talking about this year. We're talking about 2022. We're talking about what we are already have before us, what we're seeking God for. And then we're asking for all the little additives along the way.
That's right.
For him to empower us and to give us wisdom and how to execute.
Yes.
That he has put inside of us, right?
Yeah. Right.
Okay, so passion is the energy that fuels our dreams. So our energy comes from many different sources, right?
Right.
So give me a source, Joe, that gives us fuel, the energy.
But the source, it comes from that particular individual, because we all have something that God put in all of us. And our whole thing is, whatever that is, that potential will overcome any problem. You just got to know that thing. And the way you find that thing is to stay close to God, and he'll show you that very gift, because you will know. You just know this is what drives you. This is what Faith like. This is what Merlin like, and the next person. And when you move into that, because I kind of find mine, and I know I am son of Barnabas, which means encouragement. And that's what I do naturally, but I enjoy that because I can give people some hope. Mm-hmm. And then at the same time, when you're giving that out, it's good for you as well as the receiver. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's very interesting, because some of our names have great meaning behind them, behind our names, especially I can say for my name.
Right.
I used to ask my mom, why you name me Faith? But I'm telling you, it is a walk. I have to manifest this faith in my own life. Mm-hmm. I have to, every morning I wake up, I see my name, I hear my name, my name gets preached. And when the preacher says faith, then I'll start jumping, because that's that energy, because that's who I am. I am faith. I'm walking faith. And so, I just thank God for the faith that he has given me to walk with on a day-to-day basis and to execute whatever assignment that he has for me. And I pray that I do it in excellence and do it according to his plan. Not my plan, but his plan.
Absolutely. Yes.
So that's our word for tonight. Passion, the energy that fuels your dreams. Not my dreams, but your dreams.
That's right.
It's your dreams.
Amen.
Very good.
I love that, Faith. You know, one of the things when it comes down to our singles walk with God, for those of you that are just joining in, this is our singles Let's Talk that takes place on Thursday nights at 7:00 p.m. And one of the things that we are doing each and every day is trying to encourage our singles to stay focused and stay purposeful, stay hopeful, you know, because your what he said, the dream is yet for an appointed time in our lives. And
Yes.
a lot of times we have to understand that we got to get in and do the work that needs to be done first. You know, there is a finished work that's already done, but there's also a place where the Lord allows us to you know, find the rhythm of where we are, you know, like I think someone was saying about breathing, you know, she was using those bees that were there breathing. And a lot of time we have to relax and breathe in the season that we're in. It's so much, and we may kind of go into this conversation tonight as we're coming into the new year. There's so much that we have to let go of and shed off each and every year. You know, I often use that phrase that we are or pulling back layers, you know, and people are getting to know us little by little, because here I am in my 50s and you can't see me today and think that you know me. Okay.
That's right.
It's a relationship that has to be developed, and we start pulling those layers back a little bit at a time. And up under that is a lot of fear. It's a lot of doubt, a lot of worries, all of that. And many of us have probably come into the company of other singles that have probably gone through some of the things that we've gone through, but we've learned how to hide it very well. We've covered that stuff up real good. And sometimes we're bumping into one another, trying to keep that mask on. You know what I'm saying? We're trying to make sure that we are trying to keep it all together, but we're rubbing on one another. Yeah. Have you ever had anybody, especially those of you that have been married before, especially the men, and you had a woman come and hug you and she left her makeup on you, and it became a problem when you came home because you couldn't explain where that makeup came from? You know, sometimes that's how it is in life. We're rubbing up against people.
It wasn't mama. It wasn't
mama. It wasn't my mama that did it. And you got some makeup on your shirt. And where'd you get that from? Matter of fact, where you been? Where you been hanging out with? And how did you get that close? You know, we got a bunch of questions. How did you get that close to some makeup out there?
That's right.
And sometimes those are the questions that we're being asked along the way. And we're like, I don't know. I was just walking. That's all I was doing. I was just walking.
It just happened to, you know, come and hit me right here.
Yeah. It just kind of happened. Hey, what they say, only the strong survive all of that, because it's like, I'm tired of explaining where that lipstick came from. I'm tired of explaining where that makeup came from. Just walk with me. Just walk with me, and I'll explain it to you later on. You know.
Yes.
Yeah, we're all pulling layers back.
Yeah.
Well, y'all, we want to say to our guests tonight, if you guys would like to come in on the camera, we would love to see y'all's beautiful faces so that we can have a wonderful conversation on tonight. If anybody would like to come forward tonight on there. No push. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get ready to get started tonight. Joe, if you don't mind opening us up in prayer, that would be wonderful.
All right. Maybe bow our heads, please. Heavenly Father, we come with open hearts. We come with newness. We understand there's a new season of our lives. And in this new season, Father, we understand that we walk through this season with you. And with that, to know that anything we go through, that you are there. You've always been there. Your hand is bigger than mine, so I just hold your hand and realize as we walk through these seasons and seasons of life, that know whatever comes, that we understand you are with us. So whatever problem we have, and we will have those, we understand you the problem solver. We understand that the potential you put in us is bigger than any problem. So you are our companion and you are our Father at the same time. So in this time, as is and times to come, We understand that we must stand on you, that you're the solid rock that never changes. So as we go forward in this thing called life, we understand that we must depend on you, and that with depending on you, we can go through anything. So these and other blessings we ask in our son Jesus' name. Amen.
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 Hey, Marilyn, I don't know if since we have new people, I don't know if they're all new, because I might be new to somebody as well. But why, I just wanted to say why we get along so well, Marilyn and Joe and myself. We've been together for many years now, and in ministry and also on our radio show. So we just have that vibe that, you know, we just flow like that. And that's why Marilyn said, like family again, because that's, you know, where we've always been. So I just wanted to explain that we're not blood. We're not blood, okay. but we are family. We are family, and we thank God for each other. So, and don't be shy. I do have a guest on here. I'm not gonna expose that person, but don't be shy. Y'all come on the camera. Yes. Come on the camera.
Amen. All right. Well, we're going to get started tonight with a scripture. One of the things, if we're going to, you know, be led as far as a Christian organization or Christian ministry, you know, you ought to hear the word every now and then, you know, and, you know, along with our conversation on tonight, I want to kind of base it around this particular scripture. And we're talking about trusting in the Lord. These are new beginnings. And one of the things that happens a lot of times, you know, with our single walk or even throughout the years, we have lost our focus and we've lost our trust in God, because a lot of times our eyes have gotten fixed on the world system with doing things, and even so much to where we mimic the world system. I don't think we intend to do that, but it kind of goes back to sometime when you start rubbing elbows with the world out there, you'll get the stench of the world and not realize it until you come back into settings like this. And it's like a reminder, oh, we're Christians, and we have to remember to treat each other as such. So tonight, our passage of scripture is going to come from Proverbs 3:5. Many of you may know it by heart, but it says, trust in the Lord. He said, with all of your heart, and lean not to your own understanding. He says, acknowledge him in all of your ways, and he will direct your path. Again, trust in the Lord, not man, not the world system, not the single online dating world, you know, not what your whatever did to you in the past, but he said, trust in the Lord with all of your heart, and don't lean to your own understanding. Well, it looked like to me, that's what happened. They meant to do that. You know, that's how all men are. That's how all women are. All of that. He said, lean not to your own understanding. He said, acknowledge me in all of your ways, and I will direct your path. Another one is 3 John, where he talks about a beloved. And he said, I wish above all things, he said, that you may prosper and be in good health, even as your soul prospers. And I think one of the things with singles today, I think there needs to be a place of what we call a prosperity in our soul, because that's the place where we're having to heal from, you know, our will, you know, our intellect, you know, all of those things. So there has to be a place before we can actually operate in a realm to where wholeness is taking place in our life. You got to be healed from the inside out. And a lot of time when we're looking at people, they look good on the outside, but on the inside, it's something else. You know, y'all know I like to pick on them dating sites a whole lot, and we talk about it in here. And they've got this thing a lot of times, and I know the men got their little thing with women too, but every now and then you'll bump across somebody and they say, well, I'm a Christian. That's the first thing they say is that they're a Christian. But in the middle of the night, they DMing you, what you doing? You know, they doing all kind of stuff in the middle of the night. Y'all know I'm gonna pick on them. What you doing? You know, or a lot of times they say that they're Christians, but the conversation that they have with you along the way don't sound kind of Christianese to me. So we're having to go back and not trust. And what I'm saying is don't trust the world system of doing things, because a lot of times when you're on those dating sites, you got to remember you're on a dating site.
Right.
And a lot of times that's what they do out there. And some of the Christians are out there doing some of the same things because they're mixing in. But one of the things that I know that the Lord is doing, he's doing some shaking up with all of us. He's kind of getting us to a place to where we can begin to start, living life to the full until it overflows. And the only way we're going to do that, we got to deal with that soulish realm. What's going on with us that's causing us to do some of these ungodly things that we're doing. And then we're confusing each other in the body of Christ, where sometimes we don't know who's Christian and who's not. Let's kind of wrap a conversation around that.
Okay,
Trusting in the Lord.
Because
hold on one second.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
When we talk about trusting in the Lord, what does that mean to you in your Christian faith? What does that mean to you? Y'all see how long it takes a minute to think about it?
Mm-hmm.
In your singleness, what does that mean to trust in the Lord? Anybody? Nobody knows in your single life, what does that mean to trust in the Lord?
You trust in him for everything. Okay. It means, being single, we have to rely on him for everything.
That's right.
Even for the mate that we want.
Mm-hmm.
We have to trust and wait on him for him to send the mate to us. And I know for me, I made a lot of mistakes in that area because I done went ahead and maybe talked to somebody or been with somebody and then found out that, especially married, to people, then later on, I realized I didn't even love them. I married. The first time I got married because I was pregnant.
Yeah.
And, a lot of times we, later on, when we come to know the Lord and then we start trying to figure out what's going on with us. And then we figure out, okay, now I realize why I did that.
Yeah.
The second time I got married because we had good sex.
Just be honest.
I'm sorry, I can't be but no other way.
No,
but
that's great.
I realized that was it. I didn't really love him, really. And and at the time I was thinking, man, I want to be married. I don't want to be alone, And, so now here I am, trying to be this woman of God. I'm in church, and I'm sleeping with this man. And I'm really getting convicted by it. So I'm going to have to make a decision, So I made a decision, I'd rather marry than burn. Y'all know that saying, I'd rather marry than burn.
Burn. So,
and they just kept talking about, well, you better marry before you burn. You out here, so you thinking, okay, I'm having sex with this man, I'm thinking I love him, but it wasn't love. It was just sex. That's all it was. I wanted to be able to have sex whenever I wanted to have sex. And that was it. Yeah. And I did, but I wanted a husband and I wanted to be married. I'm thinking it's going to be it. And I'm going to do everything I can to make this work.
Yeah.
Well, even if you have two Christian people, but, you can still be unequally yoked.
Yeah.
You can still be unequally yoked. And me and him, we were not the same. Well, I'm the one in the church and he ain't even got a foot in. And I'm trying to, help. And, we wives, we supposed to be the ones what's that saying that we bring our husbands in? I can't remember that saying. I know
we use it last week that the sanctified wife can sanctify her husband.
That's right. We supposed you're supposed to be able to sanctify your husband and bring him in, and you need to be praying. And man, I'm praying and I'm doing all of this stuff, and everything, trying to get him to come in. And the more I did, the more he went away. The more he went away.
So you just keeping it real.
As I realized after going through all of that, all these relationships, and the last person I liked or whatever, but you just have to learn to trust God.
Yeah,
Trust
right.
Him for everything. And even though you get lonely and you get depressed, and then you get in your mind, nobody wants me, it's me, it's me, it's me. And then all of this time, God is still sitting there going, okay, so when are you going to wait on me? When are you going to trust me? I
That's right.
trust for your purpose and your will, and you praying for all these things. But so if I'm praying for his purpose and I'm praying for his will and I'm praying for all of this stuff, but yet still, I'm still in the way of it because I'm not submitting to him.
That's right.
So until I submit, go ahead.
How many of you can admit that that's I can tell you it's been one of my issues, that waiting on God. And we can find ourselves in situations, because you know how your season lasted a long time. It's like I planted that seed a long time ago, and the season seemed like it's passing. So I'm gonna go in here and I'm gonna help God. Yeah. And now things that we normally would see, we don't see anymore. Ms. Faith, what were you getting ready to say a little while ago before we got started?
Well, I appreciate you being transparent, Angela. I mean, because that's your life, and you can't try to sugarcoat it. That's your experience. I have experienced kind of like a little bit of the opposite. When I gave my life to Christ, my ex-husband was not saved. And so he did give his life to Christ after me. And I do believe that it was because of my prayers and prayers of others, and also his will, wanting to change, wanting to have a savior, wanting to walk in that direction. So, it might not have been his time, your ex-husband might not have been his time for him. So, just be encouraged that the word does work. The wife can definitely sanctify the husband, through her walk and through her prayers. And then on the other point, I lost my thought though, that I was gonna say, as far as waiting, I think it depends on your timeline, because some timelines we decide ourselves. We put a time on our line, if you will. I put a time on my line. So it was years that I didn't have any relationship when I was divorced, because I didn't want to have a relationship with raising a young lady or my daughter. So I put it on the line until all that could just move out the way. So, it could have had, I could have had an opportunity to have gotten, remarried or whatever, but that wasn't my timeline. And I waited. So sometimes, depending on what our decisions are, what we want, well, then, it could hold God back, say, okay, I'm not going to push nothing on you that you don't want. Holy Spirit is a gentleman, right? And that's so right. He's not going to push anything on us that we're not ready or not prepared to have in the timing and season that you want to receive it, And so therefore, sometimes in those situations, you can control it. But when your heart is open and when you're open and ready, when you made room in your life, for God to bring that man or that woman into your life, then everything starts to happen. And I'm not saying it happens quickly. It might take a little while, but he will bring. Yeah, because I don't think he wants either man or woman to be alone. So, just to give encouragement, you know, maybe your season to be open is right, like right now or right around the corner, or, you know, a couple of months, or whatever that time frame is. But I think you have to be open and to have room in order to receive someone and to be healed also from the inside out.
Yeah. We were talking a few minutes ago about also about that soul prosperity, you know. Even as Faith talks about, you know, when you've been in a marital relationship and, you know, you put a lot of time, a lot of effort into it, and that person, you know, especially if they were not saved or whatever, you want those people to Christ, and then life happens to us, you know, there's a lot that gets buried in the soulish realm, you know. And it's a place to where I think that timeline, like Faith is talking about, you have to have time to heal. You have to have time to reconsider. You have to have time to readjust, time to rethink things through, you know, time to allow our children to have a life, you know, outside of us having somebody else there with them. And it takes a minute to go there. And, you know, one of the things that I've learned is, depending on your experience with relationships, sometimes the process can be just a little bit longer because you got to get to know people in the new season that we're in. You know, like, you know, ever since the online dating started, I mean, I can honestly say that's something that I would have never, ever gotten into, or, you know, getting a, you know, just checking it out or whatever. And it like to scared me to death the first time I went on there, because, you know, it's like, you don't know whether you could trust people or not. And then you start realizing that, you know, some people are hanging out in those places and they're wanting to be healed. And sometimes they don't know they're not healed. And so and what I'm saying is, everybody, you have to make sure, if that's the choice that you make sure that the people have gone through healing as well. That's, you know, right. And if you have some breadcrumbs as to how God has healed you, it doesn't mean that God's going to do everybody the same way, but there should be some type of similarity as to, or there should be some type of resemblance of what healing looks like. You know, healing is not accusatory. Healing is not, you know, making false accusations. That's not what healing does. You know, healing does not play games, because if you've ever gone through some things, you wouldn't want anybody doing you like that. So you want to check those things out. That's why one of the things we talk about in here, the first part of last year, we talked about going through that, collecting data. When you first get into relationships, you know, you want to collect data. And the first person you collect data is on yourself. Where are you in this particular season in life? Are you trusting God with the process? You know, are you trusting God with his timing? Do you trust God to do checks and balances on you? And what do I mean by that? The Bible says it's safety and counsel.
That's right.
Or do you ever bring anybody into counsel because you feel like everybody gonna push you away from what it is that you want, and which is a firm indicator that that may not be a good thing? If you're not sure about anybody else speaking into that situation, where's your accountability at with anything? That's that soulish place. We got to get to a place to where we begin to start trusting God's process. And the Lord does have people out there that will help to navigate us through some things. And if you want it, if you want the help to get there. Mr. Joe, were you getting ready to say something?
No, I was just listening to you.
Okay. Anybody, you know, else want to kind of share tonight? I know this is you know, we're getting ready to start the new year off, guys, and or the new year's already started.
It's here.
It's a great opportunity to go into fasting and prayer for the new year, to present your desires before God. It's like, God, I'm here again.
That's right.
It doesn't have to be a relationship. It could be where you are financially. It could be your goals as far as, you know, you're in your latter years, what do you want to do in that particular place? And just presenting those things before God and letting the Lord take the lead with that. That's what I call trusting the Lord. That's all right, God, here we are at the beginning of this year. I dare not make a move in front of you. You know, I saw where 2021 could have taken us. I saw where 2020 could have taken us. I saw where 19 could have taken us. And God, I want to put you in front.
Yes.
Let you lead the way with this. You know, anybody have any thoughts on your position of trusting God in this process? What is it that God has been actually speaking to you about that method of trusting? And where you
to me, it's like this. Trust and truth go together. It's like a hand and a glove. And it goes back, when you trust yourself, you're trusting the God that created you. Yeah. And then when you trust him, we co-create. Now he's always in the front. We need to put God in first place because that's the right order. It's called an order of things. And the order is not putting you first. We got a problem. It's putting him in the place that he's supposed to be. That honors him. You know, the whole idea in a nutshell, I think, honor God in everything and live like his son. Now, that's a steadfast thing that you do every day.
Every day.
And I stay closer to him. And again, we co-create, because all of our lives is our platform. People say, I need a path. You already own it. You own the path. But again, on the path of your life, who are you letting lead?
Yeah.
And sometimes I think this too, Merlin, we have to do a checkup from the neck up. Check up what's going on up in here. Self-check. Make sure I'm, I'm balanced. Or if I'm out of balance, it's okay. You have to admit where you are to yourself. You was talking about earlier why you can look the part. Yeah. But when you go home to face the real you, you're not the same person that was out there. And who you fooling?
Yourself.
You better talk about it, Joe.
You fooling. Don't fool thyself. That's the biggest thing you can do. I walk out the door, I put on this thing, then I walk back in and put on something else. This is real me sitting over here, broke like a joke. And you know unto yourself. So, I mean, why hold on to that? That's ego. You have to let go of all of that. And you was talking. See, detachment is the only vehicle get us from striving to arrive to you.
That's good.
Detachment and change. We don't like change because change says, let go of something. Even if it helps you. We'll hold on to pain. We'll hold on to negative stuff. Like that's going to get us somewhere. But you have to be truthful to yourself and say, I got to let this go and let God. We always say, let go, let God. Well, have you done that? And I think when you do that, you don't have to tell me you've let go of self. I see the God in you.
See it.
Your behavior speaks louder than words.
Yes.
And it's a freedom there. Free yourself from you to get to the real you. So I'm gonna quit. I just got a little.
You're doing good. Faith, you want to jump in on that a little bit?
No, to thine own self be true.
Yes.
To thine own self, right?
Yeah.
We have to do those self-assessments. Yeah. And sometimes they're not,
not
the
pretty
thing to do. But they're the right thing to do. And I think that if you're honest with yourself, you can really look and see going forward, where you need to be or where you are going. You have some type of guideposts or some points that you can go to. And if you don't have a resource, then you have either you know, other people that, you know, God has connected with you that are resourceful, or you go to the bookstore and start looking for books, you know, to help you read, you know, read and pray. You know, you have prayer. So to ask God, to ask the Holy Spirit to lead you and guide you to the right resource, the right person, to pray, you know, to listen,
yes,
you know, to hear, you know, and then, you know, take all that in and start developing a plan, you know, on how you're going to get to where you know where you need to be. And it might not be, you know, quick. You might take, you know, steps, because when you take things a little slow sometimes, it's, to me, when you learn a new process and you go over that process several times, it gets down in there. You get to know that when you know that process, if it's at work or if it's cooking something, whatever that process, a recipe or whatever, you know, if it's a recipe, how many cups, how many teaspoons, how, you know, if you have to sift the flour, you know how that feels, you know, when the flour is just right to make that cake. And when you put all that together and you mix it up, and then the cake you put in the oven, it comes out beautiful.
It should come out tasty.
When you know that everything that you did to assess yourself, to put it all together, that you are right, and somebody wants to eat you. You know, with that cake, you know, with that cake is good. That pound cake was good with that vanilla ice cream. And I'm sorry, guys.
Don't be tempting us with that sugar.
Cake and ice cream.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I'm sorry, I put that on top. But you know it's good, you know, and that light, you know, your light, your internal light will shine.
Yes.
That's when that inside. When that inside is good, it comes out on the outside. Yes.
That's right. That's right.
And then, you know, someone will say, wow, you look so good today. You know, what have you done? And then
that's fresh.
That's when God can use you. And then you start to share, and then here you go. You multiplied yourself and say, this is what I did. It gives you an opportunity to speak your process.
That's right.
You know, and you documented it, you know, and so it's all good. Like Joe said, we're not here for ourselves. Right, Joe?
Right.
All right, let's move along. We got a lot of individuals on tonight. I know you guys are sitting back in the background, kind of thinking a little bit. And, you know, we go back to that thought again, that trusting process. How hard has it been for you to trust? I know we're giving, you know, different examples, tools or whatever, but to be honest, how many of you are in a waiting season and you're tired of waiting? How many of you can honestly say that you're a little concerned about your weight? You're getting a little older. What they say, your biological clock is ticking.
You know, it's a struggle. It's a struggle. It is. And, you know, now, you know, that, you know, I'm coming out of this that I was in, and I just asked the Lord, I want my joy back. I want my joy back. And I like, you know, when Joe, you know, when he was talking about people, when you look in the mirror, who do you really see? A lot of people are imitators.
That's right.
You know? They imitate. It's like, okay, they come to church and they raise their hands and they shout and they running around through church. And, you know, you're thinking you're getting your breakthrough that way, you know, and then when you leave.
That's good, Angela.
Go ahead,
that's good.
Then when you leave out the church, you doing all kinds of other stuff. You're on Facebook doing all kinds of stuff and everything. You know what I mean?
Scrolling.
So it's
scrolling and searching.
To me, it's a daily thing that you have to go before God every day, and your Lord, okay,
Yes.
Lord, I need you to forgive me for whatever I'm going to do today. Whatever
already.
Already. Because you know you're going to do something, you know.
Yeah.
But then you have to get to a point where you ask God, okay, God, I need you. We used to sing this song called Search Me, Lord.
Mm-hmm.
So search me, Lord, on the day, on whatever it is, whatever corrupt thing I have in me that's not pleasing to you. I need you to take it out.
That's
and
right.
they said, take it out, you know. And then when he take it out, you need to put something else in.
That's
and you
right.
Oh, that's good.
that word
Yeah.
in you that you need. But you need to ask him, Lord, what do I need to put in to replenish this right here? And we getting up, we going out, and we're not replenishing it through God. We're not asking him to help us, you know. And you know what, I'm telling you, as I've been doing this fast, he's been showing me a whole lot of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not asking him to replenish the things that I need and going to him for what I need, you know. And the things we think we need, we think good for us, they're not.
That's
And
right.
then, like you talk about trusting him, you're not trusting the process, not trusting for his purpose and his will. And we say, Lord, I want your will. Lord, I want your purpose. Lord, I want to do all these things for you. And then he like, okay.
Until a test comes.
Yeah. And it's like, and you know what, Lord, I done been there. Lord, I do. Lord, I remember one time I was a patient. Oh, never do it. Never do it. Don't do it. Because believe that's when it's going to come right there.
Yeah.
And he will send it right to you. For whatever you ask for, okay, that's what you want. I'm going to send them right to you.
Amen.
But it has been, and I was thinking that too. I was like, dang, okay, I'm 50 now. So when is he coming? And I'm 52, and I'm like, okay, Lord, it's 2 more. When is he coming? And now I'm 56 now. So,
but you know, Angela, I don't mean to cut you off, but that's a common thing that I don't think people are honest in that place to where they've said that. And I'm looking at Didi's comment in here. She says, I'm definitely tired of waiting. They're tired of the waiting process.
Yeah.
And you go year after year after year after year. But what I notice a lot of times is we're tired of the waiting, but sometimes we don't do anything to get ourselves in place so that we can be prepared for what God has for us. You know,
right.
You know, we want that big prize to come, but we don't want to get prepared for the gift that comes. You know, I just believe that God give prepared things to prepare people.
Yeah.
You know, and sometimes I think some of the struggle is in our words. I'm tired, I'm tired, I'm tired. Instead of using, you know, God, I believe, I trust,
Yes,
God, I trust. Right. I know, God, I know that you're going to do it, you know, and even if you don't come right now, I know that it's coming and I'm not going to lose my confession. And I believe a lot of times we're losing our confession that God is able. And what we go to is, I'll make it happen, you know. And I just not getting into that place and just hanging tight. It's just like you believing that your Redeemer is nigh, but it's like he ain't here quick enough. So I'm just gonna go out there and do it on my own. And really, we're having to stop for a moment.
Yeah. And then exactly whenever you do, that's, you know, because just like we talking about, whenever you do things on your own, you got to realize that you get the same results.
The
same results again. And then you sitting there going, man, I'm in the same, I was just in this same situation right before. And believe me, I can say it because I did it. But this last time I learned this last time, you know what? No, I'm not getting, because I see how now, how I was all messed up about it. And
how it distorts you. Yeah.
And then now I gotta start all the way back over. I gotta start all the way back over from the beginning. Now I gotta go back to trying to get myself together, getting my mind right, you know. And now then you go through all this stuff like, I don't want to talk to nobody, you know, and it's just like you have to break the cycle.
That's
You
right.
It's so true.
and you have to break the cycle. Okay, hey, I'm breaking the cycle. I'm not going through this anymore. Okay, Lord, I really need you to come in. Lord, okay, Lord, I'm really, really trusting this time. And then you get to the point where you say, okay, you just raise your hand like, okay, Lord, I've learned. I've learned
Yeah.
my lesson. It's just like going out and getting a loan and getting another loan, getting another loan. Okay. Well, after you don't got 4 or 5,
know,
then you're like, okay, well, I've been there before. Then like, okay, I'm not doing it no more.
hold on, Angela. Hold on. Oh, you throwing a lot of stuff at us tonight. Hold on.
I'm like, wait,
listen. Yeah, time out. There's a scripture, I think it's in Psalms, it's either 64 or 65. He said, he said, my soul be quieted. Oh, my soul.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes it can sound just like what Angela's putting out there. How many of you can really say, I sound like that sometimes?
Yeah.
And the Lord has to come in and, my soul be quiet from within. Because a lot of times when we have a lot of what I want, what I don't see, all that, we get ourselves into a place of confusion. And you're not able to hear from God, even if the Lord did want to speak, because we have so much other jargons that's going on with that. So we hear you, Angela, but we hear a lot of the noise too behind a lot of that. You've been to say.
I want to say
what
something.
I've learned. I've been there. This is what I've learned. I've been there. So a lot of the things, I'm talking about it now because I haven't been able to talk about it. But I'm saying I've already been in all of these spaces, all of these spots. Amen. And now it's like, I'm right here. Okay, Lord, I'm right here. I need you to help me to get this together, to get myself together. And that's where I'm at. And that's where you got to be. You got to be in that submitted place like we talked about. And then you have to continue to go to God every day and ask him to help you. Because that's the only way we're going to be able to make it. It's the only way.
Amen. All right, let's do this. Let's have some rules in the house tonight. All right. There's this little thing called the hand raiser up underneath. And if we're ready to make a comment, and I know we'll probably get into some heavy stuff as we go along, y'all be sure to use that little hand raiser to say, hey, I got something to say. That way we can kind of all take turns having conversation throughout the time. So, Amen. All right, Ms. Faith, I think you were next on there.
What I wanted to say, you have to be happy in your life. Mm-hmm. I mean, regardless if a man is there, a woman is there, you have to find where your happy place is. If it's going out to dinner by yourself or with a friend or whatever, you got to learn to be happy where you are. And you can't stay in the house either and think that you're gonna meet somebody, or if someone, you got to get out of your comfort zone in your situation, and you got to put your makeup on, get your dress on or whatever, and you go out there, not saying that you're looking for anyone, or just go and enjoy life. And as you're doing that, then that special man or that special woman can just appear right before you. But you got to enjoy life, because we don't know if tomorrow is promised. You can't be frustrated and saying, Lord, where is it? I need I want a man. I need a man. Not always, because some people want to be single, and that's cool too. I mean, if that's what you desire, I hear you. But if you desire companionship, if you desire, and if you desire to have that relationship, you got to have a relationship with yourself.
Yes.
You have to love yourself, in the place that you're in. And then you start to incorporate things into your life that you enjoy doing.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah.
Like, hey, you want to go shopping, go shopping. If you want to go, if you like to read, go to a bookstore and read. If you want to go look at flowers, go to, wherever, but botanical gardens. If you want to go to a museum, if you like music, go hear music. You got to start developing what you like.
That's right. That's right.
Because if you don't know what you like, and here comes, you know, the man in for you, and you don't know what you like and what your dreams are, you know, what do you want to be in the next season? Where you want to be? Where you want to live? How you feel that? Did you buy some new sheets on your bed? How those feel to your body? You know, you got to feel you.
That's right. Makes sense.
Yeah. Faith, one of the things that that I found myself doing, I realized that you know, there are spiritual seasons in our lives. Though we're going through, I think we're still in the fall. I don't think we've hit winter just yet, or have we? We're still in the fall, and a lot of times what we do is we make I don't know what word I want to use, but sometimes we go according to what has already taken place in the fall season. These are the things that we do, or this is what people do in relationships, all of that. We're just going according to the natural systems. But there have been often times that I have learned that though I'm in the fall, I may be in the winter spiritually, meaning I need to learn some things, you know. So one of the things that I've found myself doing is there are certain people that I have an ear to hear from. Of course, my bishop is always going to be one. I just love his teachings, period, especially when it comes down to relationships. There is this book, Dr. Van Moody. I'll never forget when Van Moody came to the church, and he talked about the people factor. You know, it was during a Valentine's occasion, and he was teaching us how to identify with people and understand how the language of individuals are. That was a winter season of my life. There are often times when I go in and I'll listen to those of you that are tuned into Bishop Samuel Blakes. I listen to him, his brother R.C. Blake. And what am I saying with that? There are often times in life when we don't have the answers, or maybe we can't find maybe a singles group or anything like that's positive. You don't have to turn to the world system. It's a whole lot of places out there that can, you know, really speak to you. So a lot of times what I would do, because I love relationships, when I tell you I love it so much, but I realized there was a whole lot that I needed to learn too. So I sat up under people, even like Bishop Noel Jones. These are people that I grew up around, and I love to hear their teaching. I love to hear them teach the word of God, because sometimes he got to speak to my psyche. And sometimes he need to talk to my head and talk to my heart. Sometimes he got to talk to my heart. There are often times I need the Lord to help me to deal with my behavior, my anger. Sometimes I need to learn how men operate. You know, sometimes we don't even know. So a lot of times I noticed when we all came together as a team, and I can't tell y'all how many times my brother Joe has talked me out of something and he didn't even know it. Because Joe is just having conversation with his sisters like he would with the brothers out there. And it would be something that I had prayed about, and Joe would come in and speak on something, and I'm like, and I trust my brother. I trust what he's saying. And I don't think Joe would lead me wrong in any kind of way. And so what I'm saying, when you're in the winter season of life, you got to find yourself connected to things and people that can help you grow. I will say this, everybody's not for everybody. And as Christians, I don't think it's fair for us to put down other Christians and the way they go about, you know what I'm saying? If one believes in one thing and another believes in another, I don't think it's fair for us to put down something that has been working for another person. When we come into group settings, we can learn from each other. Listen, you can learn something from the Muslims. You can learn things from the Catholics. You know, I think it's just a time that we need to start walking in love with one another, and not so much judging, because you miss out on some valuable lessons in life when you don't properly go to your winter season to say, you know what, I don't have the answers to all that. I just came out of divorce. I don't know what it's like to live life after divorce. Maybe I need to go into a winter season so I can learn that. So when the spring spiritually comes in, I can go out properly and say, you know what? First of all, I got an ear to hear. You could tell when people have been sitting in the presence of God, because when they come out, they don't do a whole lot of talking at first. They do more listening.
That's right.
Because in the winter, what the Lord has done, he's put us in time out for a while. And he say, be quick to hear and slow to speak. Just learning how to trust God and learning how to get into different seasons. Anybody else? I want some of our guests, if you guys are open to sharing on tonight, what are your thoughts on some of the conversations that we've had thus far? If you'd like to share. Any of our guests?
Just open your mic.
Right.
That's all you have to do.
Amen. Miss Fabiola, you know I like to pull on you. And I love to hear the Lord speaking to you a lot of times. When it comes down to, trusting this process with God, you've been in here with us for a long time. What has that been like for you? Just coming in and taking a seat, showing up every week in spite of, what has that been like for you, trusting God through this process?
Trust is an unpredictable thing. In the Bible, it says, Lord, I believe, please help my unbelief, and trust means that I have to believe no matter what the outcome, you have my best interest at heart, which is not an easy thing to do when what you put out is not what you're receiving, and for me, I never thought that I'm in my late 30s. I never thought I would be at my age and be unmarried and not have children. The burning desire that I had to be married and have children when I was like in my mid-20s, that has somewhat surpassed and died down. Do I still have those desires? Oh, absolutely. But I think life has taken precedence, especially when, especially in this Christian walk, things don't always go as planned. Some of the worst case scenarios we find ourselves, we would have never signed up for them. And I think there are certain checklists that we have signed off, we have checked off that we would have never chose for ourselves, or we would have tried to detour, bypass it. So for me, at this point, the trust is saying, you know what, Lord, I'm sitting this out. I have fallen, I have bumped my head quite a few times, and I'm going to sit on my hands, because one of the hardest things, especially being a Christian, is being, we hear it all the time, but some of us don't really know what it means, including myself. Be still. What does being still mean like? And you know how they say that, I forgot the beginning, but something is like the devil's workshop, something like that.
An idle mind.
Idle hands are mine, I forgot. But, I'm a big believer that if it ain't broke, don't break it. So in that process.
that's a good one, Fabio.
Yeah, it is.
Joe, you need to put that in your thing. You got that one. Hey, Fabiola throwing you some nuggets over there.
Oh yeah, that was beautiful. Yeah.
Actually, I got that from my father. When he was a child, he told me that he went to a neighbor's house and was playing with the handle of a teacup, and he was messing around with it so much that it got broken. So he learned and what I can now say is that, and I think most of us at this juncture in our lives, we have learned that we can learn to live without certain things. We can substitute for certain things. We can compensate. And sometimes I ask myself, is it because the Lord knows that maybe my focus would be elsewhere, or I would have to divide my time with him, that he hasn't given this to me? But I also say to myself, I hope, as much as I want this, that my partner's doing their due diligence, and they're putting as much time and effort in it for me, because the way I feel about marriage is, especially as a woman, I need to benefit just as much, if not as more, in order for me to marry a man, because I know what he will reap from being from me.
That's right.
And because I don't want to be unequally yoked, I'm like, Lord, it's out of my own for whatever the outcome is. I'm going to be coming to you. So we're going to have a talk. So because God has my best intentions, because I've been there in life where something starts off horrific and in the end it's just a beautiful ending. And I hope that's what the Lord has in store for me. So that's where my trust is. You know, my friend and I, we're in the same position, and all the time she'll encourage me and I'll encourage her, and she'll just send me random texts throughout the day. It's coming, it's coming, it's coming. And I'll say the same
I like that.
Yes, that's right.
And she says, Fabiola, the Lord must have something wonderful for us, something that is like, will blow our minds away, because for as long as we have been waiting, at this point, it's almost with interest.
That's good. I like that. I like it. I like it.
That's where I am in my journey. Just waiting on the Lord, waiting to be surprised.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, I want to kind of pull on one of our male partners, Mr. Marcus Wade. Mr. Marcus, we'd love to hear some male perspectives on that waiting season. Maybe our women can, understand that it's not just us that's in that place, and where you guys are at this time, if you don't mind sharing, Marcus.
Most definitely, I guess it's not just women in this place. I'm just listening right now, kind of absorbing what you guys are saying, and most definitely a lot of interesting things I'm hearing from both perspectives, with Joe sharing and the ladies that are sharing on here. I don't know really what to add, but we all have our own struggles, I guess, with relationship as well as with our own personal growth and direction that we go into. So I guess I just, for me, I just work on me on a daily basis, trying to make sure I'm in a good place when that right opportunity comes. People always ask those questions that you guys have been posing all night and yet last week as well, when is things are going to transform or transpire for you. And I mean, they probably transpire every day. You're just not making a choice to seize the moment.
Exactly.
But people just sometimes cautious waiting on their own opportunities. I know that's what I'm doing. It's probably why I'm where I am today in my growth process. I'm just listening and absorbing what you guys got to say, but some good conversation so far for sure.
Amen. Yeah, I was, through my coaching services, I get to meet a lot of interesting people, a lot of interesting people. And one of the things that I heard a gentleman say, and it wasn't an unusual thing, but it was good to hear it out loud. The gentleman said that he's gone through the majority of his life not being married. He's not been married. And he said, Marilyn, there was nothing wrong with them. He said, I just didn't have time. He said, I was busy making, a living. He would date different women or whatever. He said, I would always take care of them. He said, but in essence, when I look back on it, it was because I didn't have time. And he said, you have to finally make it up in your mind that that's something that's important to you. We often hear that phrase, don't make someone a priority who has made you an option.
Right.
And I think in relationships, sometimes when we don't always hear the truth coming from the person that right now you are an option, and here I am trying to make you a priority to me, we get confused in it because we know how to act the part, how to go forward. I was sharing with y'all, what was it, a couple of weeks ago, about the gentleman that I'd met a while back. His thing was he did not want to be married.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to be upfront to ask people these things. Is that something that's on your radar? Because otherwise, people can get into a relationship for a lot of different reasons. And, if you think about it, there are one man to how many women, and so many women. And sometimes people are trying to find their position with all of this. And then you may be trying to make a place for somebody that's not even interested in settling down in a relationship at all. And I think it's very important that we ask those questions, and not be afraid to ask, where are you going? What do you want in life? What are your beliefs? Where are your values at? And listen for the argument in them.
That's right.
You ever met anybody that argue about everything?
Mm-hmm.
So that disgruntlement is coming from somewhere.
Yes.
And
yes.
Joe, I think we talked about that last year in one of our sessions about listen for that growl and that grumble and that argue all the time. It's hard to be in relationships with people that argue all the time.
That's right.
That's a place where there is no peace that's there. So, sometimes you have to ask, why do you feel that it's necessary to argue about that? Well, I'm just getting my point across. I'm just being real. Just being real to who?
Yes.
I just want us to have our eyes open, guys. If you're just checking out the scene, you're just learning, you're in your winter season, let's be open and honest about those things, because the last thing you want to do is play with somebody else's heart. And that gentleman, I think he said that the last lady that he had dated, he dated her for a long time, and she finally realized that he didn't want to be married. He just wanted to date her forever. But sometimes we have to ask those questions. I'm going to go to another one. Mrs. Veronica Smith, I want to pull on her tonight. Veronica, you've been single for a while. And, we're talking about trusting in the Lord with all of your heart and not lean into your own understanding. Acknowledge him in all of your ways and he'll direct your path. What has that single life, what has that been for you? And coming into the new year, what kind of stance are you taking, in your single walk right now as it relates to maybe a potential mate coming in a little bit later?
Hello, Marilyn.
Hey, Veronica.
I knew I was avoiding for a reason. I had a feeling you were going to put me on the spot. Yes, I had that feeling. I've been single for a while. When I gave my life to the Lord when I was married, while I was married to my second husband. And when we split up, I began to talk to the Lord. I said, Lord, I've never dated on this side, being a Christian. And I didn't know, I'm like, Lord, I don't know what that looks like. And so I was invited. And when you ask him, he'll lead you and give you the answer. And that particular time, it wasn't too long after that I asked that question, I went to a small women's Bible study. And the leader was testifying about she knew herself. She knew her limits and what she could handle as far as dating. And she chose not to date. And so I took that stance. I said, well, Lord, I know myself. And I don't want to become emotionally involved with someone and they're not meant for me. I decided not to date. So I have not dated anybody since my husband and I divorced in 2012. I've been single. And I didn't want to I'm a single mother, and I didn't want to bring men in and out of my daughter's lives.
Yes.
That were not appropriate and I wasn't sure about. So I have not dated anybody. And by the grace of God, I prayed that he would keep me. And even in temptation, sometimes he had to embarrass me a little bit to keep me, to help me in that area of staying single. And I thank God for it. But along the way, I've learned so much about myself. And just began to learning, knowing the Lord and him teaching me about him and how I am to relate to him. And I just believe he's preparing me for my husband. And I'm just learning and just praying. And there were so many things within me I needed to change from a lot of past hurts, a lot of past disappointments, some things from my childhood. God had to take me through a process of healing and just knowing myself and why I did some of the things I did growing up and even in my relationships. So as I've learned from him and began to see the things that I needed to change within me, and I just prayed to him. I said, Lord, just heal me and help me so that when my husband does come, I can love him as if I've never been hurt and honor him the way a wife is supposed to honor her husband. So now, as far as upcoming, I hadn't thought about it. I have so much going on. I mean, I haven't thought about it, but the timing right now is not good. So I'm not even trying to entertain a relationship unless the Lord shows me otherwise. I just have a lot going on within my family right now. Now it could, so I'm just praying and trusting God in this season. So I don't know how much longer I'll be waiting, but I'm just going to continue to trust and seek the Lord as I wait. Thanks for putting me on the spot, man.
I love it, Veronica. Y'all, when I tell you, I have enjoyed, Veronica and I have been knowing each other for a good while, but we're just now at that place of really exploring our spiritual walk together. And when I tell you, it has been absolutely amazing. I mean, I knew it about her a long time ago, but just to see her flourishing in that area. And when she first told me that she had not dated since her divorce, and I really believe her. I mean, that's just sometimes we just don't have that type of timeline. And then some people are not interested in those kinds of things anyway. And just for those of you that may be in that category with Veronica, it's okay. Everybody's not seeking the same things,
No.
but it doesn't put, a damper on people that really are, in that particular vein like that. So thank you, Veronica. Amen. Amen. It looked like we've got more guests that have opened up. Are you guys wanting to share as well on tonight? Tamara, I see you. You always have great things to share with us. And then we've got a gentleman that's on the line. We're glad to have our men online with us tonight. Yeah. So does anybody have anything that they would like to share as well? We're talking about trusting in the Lord with all of our heart.
Well, when it comes down to trusting in the Lord, I hit the mic earlier when you first brought it up, and I think it was Angela. She started talking. Okay. But that trust in the Lord is just, it's almost like someone, you get you almost have that bit, what you call it, the blinders on the side. You say, Lord, just put it, I want to go where you want me to go. So I just direct my path. And that way, because I've had my challenges, I've had my different things that I've come through, and through the grace of God, I made it through. That's the key, through. And so when I run into those situations where my trust has built up over time, I'm not going to be, I pray not to be like the Israelites who said, what am I going to do? I'm going to start murmuring. Well, it can kind of go in your mind. You be like, you like catch yourself. I remember when he did this, he opened that door. Oh, he moved that person. Oh, you know what? He gave me favor on that situation. And so
put me in remembrance of your word, God.
And so that's what helps me. And so when it comes down now to relationships, when that time comes, as I keep saying, that I'm waiting on the Lord. I haven't dated since I got divorced in 2004. Okay. And so that's a long time.
That's a long time.
But not saying you don't see someone that's kind of interested and kind of pique you, but God ain't let it that way. So you just kind of like keep moving forward.
Man.
And so I will go places by myself. I can go out to eat because the Lord has shown me that He's with me all the time. And so I can go out to eat. I can go to the movies, and I'll be at peace. And when they say going places, yes, who was saying put your makeup on? Right now I don't have makeup on. Okay, but when I step out, I step out. And so, right. Okay, so it's all about just being. It took time to be me, because when you're in a marriage where you felt, well, I felt there was controlling, and I didn't have that freedom, and so when God actually helped me to step out of it. Now, mine wasn't just a little, something minor. I did go through some situations that was serious where, as far as abusive, but through that time, I've learned to forgive.
Amen. Mm-hmm.
And even, when he got remarried, and him and his wife were having problems, and I was in a minister role at that time frame, God blessed me to minister to them, to counsel them, to talk to her, talk to him. And to say, think about your child. What is it about the root? So God will put things in you. You don't know why you're going through, but that's when I come to trusting, because I'm like, well, I will forgive this man. I forgave him. Mm-hmm. And then he ended up using me to end up being, now, how you said, a distant friendship, but it's just the idea that God will use you. Even when people seem like they're your enemies, He will flip it. And you always say, don't put nobody, don't kick anybody away.
Don't throw people away. Mm-hmm.
Throw people away. So, and that's a good thing when you always, when you say that, it reminds me. And I don't really do that, but sometimes, you just like, when those teachings that says, you better go in that book, you need to delete some people. And now those people that you're deleting, if God is having you change seasons, that don't mean that you're supposed to delete them totally out of your life.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. And I've had a friend who did that, and they just totally delete them. But then the person on the other side don't know why they dropped them, and so that goes into that. So I've just learned
rejection. Mm-hmm.
They'll feel rejection, and it was them being just felt like that was the Lord was telling them to do. It was nothing like they did something wrong. So it's just, God is trusting. He's just trusting Him and learning.
We're learning. Yeah.
That's daily.
Yeah.
That's kind of like what we talk about. We're pulling those layers back. Mm-hmm. And that's one thing about coming into this room where we are. We're getting a chance to see people on different levels. Because be honest, even before you start getting into any kind of singles, support group or whatever, most of the time the only people we were counseling with was our own mind. You didn't have nobody to talk to, or people in the same circle that you were in. And a lot of times we're high-fiving one another, but we don't always come into a place to where we can open up our ears to hear it from a different perspective, because it's not all, everything is not always as it appears to be, so that's why I say don't throw people away, put them back in fourth chair. Don't let them be up in first chair with you, but put them in fourth chair they're not making all that noise, drowning you out or anything, but you can learn things from them. So thank you. Anybody else before I pull on some other people tonight? Miss Robin, I'm coming after you, so get ready. Anybody else tonight? Miss Robin, what about you? How are you looking at life, through your single lenses? And Robin put something in the chat box just a few minutes ago. I'm gonna see if I can get back to it. She said, it was after Dee Dee said, I'm definitely tired of waiting. Robin said, I'm concerned, but in the place of, Lord, I don't want this to be it. And I think she's talking about staying single all of her life, but if it is, I'm good. So Robin, you want to kind of share tonight a little bit, your thoughts? Ms. Robin? She may not be in a good place tonight, in a good spot tonight. I'm going to pull on Ms. Demetrius. Dee Dee, I'm going to pull on you. We haven't heard your voice in a while. Where are you at now? I see you put in here, you're definitely tired of waiting. What has that waiting season looked like for you? What's it been like? Dee Dee, are you there? Demetria, Amy, are you there? All right. Miss Tamika Hamlet. I'm pulling on somebody I know will talk. Tamika, what about you, dear?
Well,
hey, y'all know the ones that talk to me all the time. I'm gonna pull on y'all.
Well, since you want to know,
there's Demetrius. Hold on 1 second, Tamika.
Okay,
Diddy, are you ready to talk?
I was having a hard time to get my microphone to work. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I was trying to get it to work.
Okay.
But I've been, having some issues with working through some things with myself. Really, that was my main thing right now. I talk with Chick a lot, and she always tries to encourage me about dating. And, I told her I have a few things that I wanted to work through, with myself, within myself. I have a lot of health issues going on right now. Right now, I can't even walk. I had surgery 2 weeks ago. And so I'm dealing with that and just a lot of other health issues that I have going on. So I have a few things that I wanted to work on within myself before I stepped out, into actually trying to date. Just like I said, I have a lot of health issues and just things within myself. After losing my parents, I think I kind of went through a little bit of depression and just, some things that I didn't know, what my purpose was, because for so long, I felt like my main purpose was to take care of my mom and then take care of my dad. I took care of my mom for over 20 years and only took care of my dad for 2, and losing them both 6 months apart kind of, put me in a place to where I didn't know what my purpose was, because I have been a caregiver for so long. I was a young mother. I became a mother at 15. So I raised my kids, other relatives I raised. And then, after that, taking care of my parents. So I really never felt like it was my time. So I always said, once if I lost my mom or something happened that I didn't have to take care of my mom anymore, that I would probably move to the city and, then I would just live my life. But that was not the case, because when that time came, I didn't feel like I was ready. And I just didn't know exactly what I was supposed to do. What was my purpose now? So that has been a issue that I've had for the past 5 years, just still trying to find myself.
Good.
And just,
Demetri, I think you're on mute, babe.
So really that's, as far as the waiting, I think it was just, I feel like I've wanted so much more, and a lot of goals that I had set, I didn't meet those goals. I had goals that I set when I turned 50, and I'm 54 now. And I look back and I say, still there's so much more that I want to do and need to do, with myself before I feel like I'm ready to be in the place to actually find a husband or, meet someone that I'm ready to say that I'm ready to take that step. Because I have been married once before, but it was so long ago. I was married young, and me and my husband, we had 3 children, had a great relationship after marriage, but just since that point, I feel like I had so many failed relationships. Not a lot, but I feel like the 4 relationships that I've had, I felt like they were all failed. I don't feel like they were the right relationships. I don't, we weren't equally yoked, So fear, and I know that I should not have fear, but fear has been one of the biggest issues. Chick always advises me to, online date, but I'm so scared I won't even think about it. I just can't even imagine it, and I'm just not one of those kind to just, I don't know. I'm fearful in so many ways when it comes to dating, because I guess I haven't had a whole lot of experience with the dating thing.
Yeah.
So that's been my biggest issue. So that's why I say I have some things that I want to work out within myself. And, fear is one of the biggest things, just trying, and I pray about it all the time. God, just give me the strength, and I still, for some reason, I have that fear. I'm just shy when it comes to trying to step out, And again, like I said, things that I have going on, I have a lot of insecurities about my weight and, a lot of health issues. So that's, kind of my biggest issue with the dating scene now, just trying to get back on track with, and I don't think my weight is not that big of an issue, but sometimes I feel insecure about things. And I don't think I have a problem with, being approachable, because men approach me all the time, so I don't think it's a problem with them. It's me, I got to work on my, insecurities with myself.
Right.
So that's kind of where I am.
Amen. Thank you, Dee, for the transparency, because you brought out some things tonight that, aging parents, especially at our age, that's something that you do have to consider. That's why I call those seasons of life have changed, though we would love to be doing certain things at our 50s spiritually. God has called us to, other things. We dare not allow our parents to take care of us when we're small, and then when they need us, we're not there for them. And there's been a lot of people that have had to put their lives on hold, per se, for the sake of their, and they did it with love. And it sounds like that's what you have done.
And I wouldn't have done it any other way. I am so thankful that I was able, and I think about now, it was so funny. My life, the way I see it now, is because the whole time I took care of my parents, I was healthy, I was fine. And it was just like, as soon as they passed, I started like having all these issues. And I'm like, where did this come from? I said, I've been so healthy forever. And now, I mean, I probably have about 15 prescriptions that I take daily.
Wow.
Literally. Yeah. And, it's so, unbelievable that I'm on that amount of medication on a daily basis, and it scares me sometimes. And I'm like, I'm just thankful that I was well and healthy when I needed to be, to take care of them, because how would I have been able to do it if I wasn't? So, all of this didn't come. And that's why I feel like, my body went through some kind of process or something that took me to this place of illness, because I never had any of these things before I lost them.
So sometimes, Dee, we take the spirit of the person, like if a person dies, we take on a spirit of grief with us, and we have to unpack. That's why I say we're pulling off layers. We have to unpack those bags from that. And we dare not move on into, especially the relationships in life, when we got a lot of those things, that are upon us, because spirits are transferable, and people think that they're healthy and they really are not. And Diddy, tonight, you opening up probably has helped you a whole lot, because I've not heard you speak like this in a long time.
I really don't. I mean, she gets on me so much. She said, Dee, you don't even tell me. You just hold everything in. And I do. I talk to God about it, and, maybe my daughters, but that's it. Really. And I have one other, I have a lady that I talk to her about it a lot, but other than that, I definitely don't open up and talk about things. So this is definitely a first for me, because I'm so, like I said, I'm so shy when it comes to things.
Yeah. I think it's just you know how like if I'm gonna tell you, when I used to go to the gym and I'd go in there where Joe was, I ain't like being by him, because Joe flexing them muscles, And it making mine look like something wrong with me. And I'm wondering how Joe got the muscles and I don't. And the only thing is Joe is consistent with what he does. He goes in that gym. He goes in every day. And Diddy, I think the more that you and all of us, the more we relax and hear our voices, listen, we're going to get the muscles of relationships. They're going to get stronger. Right. They're going to get stronger and they're going to get stronger. We're going to start hearing our voice more. And the next thing you know, it's going to be like, where you been all this time? I've been looking for you.
Yes.
So thank you, Diddy. And we definitely look forward to hearing more from you as the weeks go by.
Oh, you're welcome. Thank you so much for the invite, Miss Marilyn.
Amen. Anybody else tonight, y'all? Anybody else?
I guess I'm going to say something before you call me back out.
Okay, Tamika.
Yes, ma'am. Listen, okay, so I don't really talk about this much because, I mean, it's not a big priority for me. However, I guess I don't talk about it because I do have a person that I've been talking to since 2014. We were friends first, and then he stalked me for a while. And I mean, for a long while. And I was so mean to him, like, get away from me, but he was just my friend, but I'm like, get away from me. And the biggest thing was he's younger than me. And now let me explain.
Now, where were you at when we were having this conversation 2 weeks ago? Would you date a man that's younger than you?
I was probably at my property working late that week. But it's like, you can't tell though, because he's really big old guy. But I met him back when I was at TJC. He was a part-time worker going through the fire academy, working for ETMC at the time. And so he worked kind of with me. So he was like a stalker. And everybody in there were like, for a year or so, give him a chance. I'm like, he's too young. Just get away from me. But I listen to his problems, anything that he's needing to talk about, but just get away from me. So, and I wasn't interested in dating nobody. I was focused on my daughter, school, and just move around. And, one day I gave him a chance. And like I say, he was always good to me and my daughter. Like when I bring her up there, he'd take her with the rest of the people. I had a lot of babysitters up there. And she was like 2.5 at the time. And he was just very supportive, anything I needed, because I was in school too. If I needed help with anything, rent. And this boy was like 9, he's 9 years younger than me. Let me just say it. And I was like, dang, he treat me better than I've been treated with these people my age or old. I was like, wait a minute, man, hold on. So that's when we started dating. He was practicing celibacy at the time.
Okay.
He didn't tell me
up a bunch of stuff tonight.
he didn't tell me. One of our mutual friends let it out, and he was so embarrassed. And I was like, why are you embarrassed? And he was like, because he shouldn't have told you that, because I guess that's guy talk. I have no idea. So anyway, that being said, he was the first guy that's ever went to church with me when he was here in Tyler. Finally, a couple of years ago, he got a job with DeSoto Fire because it was very hard for, Tyler. Y'all know Tyler now. Tyler's very white. I'm just going to say it. Yeah. And he tried 2 times to stay. And they kept saying, you didn't pass, but he got it in Chicago, Houston, and in DeSoto. So he chose there because he's from Dallas. So anywho, now we're at the point we're off and on. I'm a little mean though. And I'm surprised, yes, I am, when it comes to relationship, because it's not the trust. I'm dominant. I wear pants, and I have not. And I know that sounds horrible, but
it doesn't. Yeah.
But I haven't been in a relationship since my child's dad back in 2012. So, with that being said, it's hard. But he's very humble, and he's like, he'll back off when he could tell that I'm in that mood. He won't say nothing, and then he'll come back around. Hey, how are you doing? You okay? And anytime I need something, he's just always been there. So at this point now, he's starting to be like, when are you moving? Because I've been planning on moving up that way because there's no opportunity here for my degree. They're not gonna pay me enough. So the plan was for me to move up there, but now he's starting to get antsy. Like He's even spoke about marriage and stuff like that. But I'm not up there. So with that being said, I'm content with myself, even if that didn't work out. But, you know, I love him. We're like best friends as male and female best friends. Sheena, don't get jealous. You're my best friend. But as far as
I'm listening. I'm listening because I'm gonna call you tonight.
I know. But no, I knew it. He is awesome though, and hopefully, and what I've done though, I don't pressure anything. I don't push anything. I stay focused on me, really, right now, and God. At the present moment, we're fasting. All that stuff. But I asked God a long time ago when I was trying to make things happen myself, when I gave him a chance and all this, and the devil started getting in my ear saying, well, he this, he that. And I just had to sit back and think about it. Like, is he really though, you know? And so basically I've given our relationship and our friendship to God, and it seems to be working better that way, even at a distance, you know? So that's where I'm at, and I'm content.
I love it. She's the first one that's come in our group that has opened up. I don't know if other people have been dealing with it or not, but has talked about dating a younger guy. And I think we talked about that. And you know, we've always heard that age is nothing but a number. But you know, who knows? You never know what, you know, life is going to present to you. That's and she's also the first one that's come in and talked about that dominant side also, you know. Recognizing that, you know, sometimes that is my vice that I have. I'm very, we talked about that masculine versus feminine energy. You know, sometimes we're not in our proper places, you know, where we need to be or whatever. But, you know, until you come to that place of realizing, you know, you want to be married or whatever, that may be something that has to be adjusted, you know, with the right somebody. I know we don't always adjust it with anybody, but with the right somebody. So thank you, Tamika. I love y'all's conversations tonight. And the openness. Sound like everybody's had something different to say, which has really been good. All right. Anybody else? We're almost at our 9 o'clock hour, but we love the conversation moving forward. Anybody else tonight?
Wow.
Oh, quiet, Faye.
I see my friend down there.
Okay. Now, where's your friend?
Coach G.
Coach G. Okay.
Hi.
Okay. Is Coach G wanting to say? Okay, this is the gentleman that's in the group. Okay. Okay. Maybe Coach G doesn't want to talk tonight.
Come on, Coach G.
Joe needs you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right. How everybody doing tonight?
Good. How are you? Good. Thank you for joining with us tonight.
Well, thank you for the invite. I was just kind of listening to the conversation, and also just being my first time on the line, I didn't want to do a lot of talking. But the theme of the night, trusting in the Lord, and what that looks like. In the Messenger Bible, it says, don't try to figure things out on your own. That's a translation for the Message Bible. So that kind of makes it even more plainer that when we don't trust God, we're trying to figure things out on our own.
Yeah.
But when we trust God, we lean on Him because He knows so much more than we do. He knows everything. He knows everything about us. Yeah. He knows our low capacity, what we can take and what we can't. So a wise person would trust in God because we meet people, we don't know what their intentions is, and we don't even know fully what their background is about. So you're really going in there blindly. As you trust in God, God can, He knows everything about that person. When you go to Genesis, God has been involved in relationships from the very beginning. There's a lot of examples in the Bible that God told the Israelites how to pick a wife or and look for and what kind of characters to look for in a woman. So God has always been involved in that, and He wants to be involved with that. But many times we don't allow Him to be. We go by our own understanding. We go by what we like and what we're attracted to. But God is the one that loves us so much that he wants to be involved. And so that's the first thing I like to say about when you trust God. We can't figure it out. And a lot of, like myself, we made mistakes along the way, and probably because we didn't trust in God and we didn't give it to him, and we made our own decisions. And so, but as we go forth as singles, Christian singles, God doesn't always give us what we want. And I think a lot of people really believe that, because some things we want, like your child, you ask for a loaded 38 for Christmas, we're not giving him a loaded 38.
That's right.
Because we know that he couldn't handle that. And so a lot of things we ask God for what we want, he doesn't give it to us. And sometimes we have to wait. And what God is waiting for in that period is he wants you to take evaluation of yourself. Yes. And be able to really search your heart and why you want that when he's provided something else. So what is our true motives in our heart when we're looking for a mate? And so in the church I attend, my pastor says the single life is the preferred life. When it comes down to serving God, we can do more being single than we can being married. That's true. And it's so funny that a lot of single people are trying to get married, and a lot of married folks are trying to get out of the marriage. So if you look at that, that's saying a whole lot.
Wow. Yes, it is.
And a lot of people feel that they're going to get fulfilled, they're going to be more happier if they're married. Yeah. But you know what? When I hear that, then it's really, you really need to run, because what's going to happen in that relationship is that they're going to depend on you for their happiness.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And that only comes from God.
Yes.
So we just have to really be careful as we go through this single period, that we really lean hard on God. Yeah. And if I could suggest a book so those to read when it comes to looking for a mate or being single, my pastor and his wife wrote a book called When Love Is in View. It's by Pastor Conway Edwards and Jada Edwards. And it's a book that I tell you, if you read it, you really, really get some good teaching in that book, When Love Is in View. But I've enjoyed, being on this podcast with you guys tonight. I've learned a lot. I've listened a lot about what's going on. It's good to hear different perspectives of where people are, and I love the transparency.
Amen. I love that, y'all. We may have to do that study from Pastor Conway and Jada, When Love Is in View. I think that's what he said. And that may be a great book study for us to do here online, especially at the beginning of the year. And we're really trying to find out what love looks like. What is that as a child of God? And what does the word of God say about that? There was a little something that I had prepared tonight, and it was a thought about when you're starting the new year off, there's some questions that have to be asked. And one of them is, even though most faithful to God, even those most faithful to God, they occasionally need to pause and think about the direction for their lives.
Yes.
Even those that have been walking with God for a while, we're on our fast, we're staying faithful as much as we can. Sometimes we have to stop and think about, where am I going from here? You ever seen that little, it's a little diagram of this person standing in the middle of like a little walkway, and they're looking to see which direction that they want to go. It's called, you're making, you're at the fork in the road. And I think many of us as singles and Christians, we are at that fork in the road. What direction do I want to go in? And how do I want to be led? Do I want this to be God's plan, or do I want this to be my plan? And I think this is a great opportunity for us all, you know, just to sit at the table and dine with each other and love on each other and talk to one another and hear each other's story and never get tired of hearing it, you know, because these are your sisters and brothers that are here, and you want to find that in a safe place, so that when you get out there with the rest of the world, they want to know the name of the book again. What is it again, Coach G? What is it?
When love is in view.
When love is in view. When love is in view.
It's a wonderful book.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we may look in that, Faith, to see about doing maybe a book study on that. I think that would be good. Okay. But yeah, it's a Didi, are you trying to say something? I see your mic keep lighting up over there.
I don't know. No.
She probably forgot to take it off, put it back on mute. But yeah, so y'all, this has been a wonderful conversation. Mm-hmm. It's been good to hear everybody's heart. Yeah. And to see where everybody's at. And y'all have been so raw and so real with your conversations tonight. And, you know, and ain't nobody trying to put no panties on stuff no more. I'm sick of waiting. Let's just be honest, you know, and I haven't had time to prepare. I need to get my hair did, you know, financially. I ain't had the money to be doing all of that. And this online dating thing, I don't know about that, you know, just be honest about it. And I think that's where we find the best healing at in life. And I love those of you that said, I'm not looking for, I'm not in that place, relationships. I got things going on with my family, and, you know, and I got to get this stuff out of my head, maybe the way that I saw relationships a long time ago. And I need to be healed from mom and them.
Yeah. Can I say something?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
When you talk about online dating, the things have shifted, and the way we used to date and the way we used to meet people has kind of shifted. And online dating using technology, I mean, it's just a way that you can meet people, and you're in a safe environment. You're at your home, and you can choose to meet people or not. But the thing is, what we have to do is learn how to manage it. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the real issue when people, you know, they always blame the online dating, this and this, but it's just individuals, and you have to learn how to manage it, and you have to use wisdom as you try to date, you know, and especially women, y'all have the intuition, but y'all should follow it, because a lot of times your intuition told you not to, don't do it, don't, you know, but we kind of go past that stop sign. Yeah. You know, when it say yield, we don't yield. When it say stop, we don't stop. Yeah. You know, so that's where you really have to lean on God and trust in Him. Lean on God. You have to lean on God hard and trust God and pray. You know, right. And so, but we have the technology now. This call, Zoom call, you know, it's because of technology. Yeah. Right. So we thank God for the technology, but we have to learn how to use wisdom and how to manage it. Yes. You know, and be careful out there, because we know there are a lot of people out there that, you know, just out for what they can get, you know, not really being serious about getting a relationship. They just want this, they just want that. And they say they're Christians. So but you know, but we just have to use wisdom and just trust God. I'm a life coach, and my expertise is on relationships, and so there are a lot of people out there looking for answers, and a lot of people, they need coaching. Yeah, and my emphasis is on breaking the man code. So I'm telling all the secrets. You know, because there is a communication gap between men and women. And we have to understand when a man says this, for you to understand it, you have to think like he thinks. You know, so we need better communication between each other. And women have, you know, we have to think like a woman to understand a woman, and a woman has to think like a man to understand us. So there's help out there.
Yeah, amen. Yeah, we got the life coaches in the house tonight. And I think that we're in safe places to where God can really help us, through a lot. And don't be afraid to ask for help. The Bible says it's safety in counsel.
That's right. That's right.
And we come to put our head. It's not saying that, anybody has all the answers to it, but I can share with it. That's how life coaches do. They share with you from their experiences in life, and, couple up with, what the word, especially if they're Christian life coaches, they couple it up with, what the word of God has to say about it, and try to give you some tools to work with so that, it can make your life, the better. So have you guys enjoyed yourselves tonight? I think this has been a wonderful second. Is this our second meeting for the year, Joe? Second one for the year. Yeah. Joe, you got any you and Faith have any closing comments before we dismiss on tonight? We got a couple of minutes here.
Well, the thing that I hear the most, first of all, it's very clear that there's a lot of information out here, but people don't need more information. They need answers that work. So when we come into a setting, we just put some things out there that possibly can work for you, and try it out. If it don't fit, don't worry about it. Some things fit, it fits different situations. But when we come into a setting like this, and openness, I always say, and I probably sound like a broken record, but revealing the feeling starts to heal it. And
powerful.
Revealing the feeling starts, and be patient with thyself, because I believe life brings a lot. All our foundations can be shaken, but if it is, admit it and seek to get it back where it needs to be. Whatever that is for you, recognize that. Because like I say, at the end of the day, you are a human being.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if it happens to you, don't hold it in. That's the worst thing you could ever do, is hold all of that in. Yeah. And once you start to reveal it, you'll be amazed at where it will take you. It'll take you back to a place you want to be. So my thing is this, and I'm gonna be done, is we was talking about, I think you got to have a mind that's open to everything but attached to nothing, and no judgment that is out of our scope of things. Don't judge. You out of balance. Get rid of negativity, imbalance, and judgment, and balance oneself out. And we go forward together and learn from each other. That's my closing statement.
Hey.
I just want to say I enjoyed everybody tonight. It was really, really good. I appreciate everyone's transparency and opening up and sharing. And it's no judgment zone here, especially with me. I do want to say something to Dee Dee. And I hope you can hear me, Dee Dee. I hope you're still on. Is she still on, Marilyn?
Yes, she is. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So Dee Dee, I just want to encourage you to just keep pressing forward. My mom died 4 years ago. And I live here in Fort Worth, and every weekend I would drive to Tyler to take care of my mom. And we were very, very, very close. And as a caregiver and as a daughter, it was very difficult for me, to work the type of job I work and then go down and then drive back like 10 o'clock at night, 2 hours, 12 o'clock, rolling in Fort Worth, and then getting up, going to work on Monday, doing that for years, back and forth. But it was the joy of my life to be able to relocate from Washington, D.C. area and come to Texas, and God opened that door to take care of my mom in the last years of her life. But when she died, I went through a season where I didn't know what to do, I mean, with my life at one point, because everything was surrounded around her, you know, and her care and making sure that she's, you know, taken care of and finding caregivers and, you know, all of that, making sure that no one is taking advantage of her, you know, and staying there with her because she needed care all day, all night, you know, someone there. And so I went through a season where you know, I was grieving and kind of kept myself away from people for a while until, you know, I started to come out of that. And I said, I have to get out of that because I can't get stuck. I didn't want to get stuck. And she's gone, and there's nothing I could do about that. But guess what? She'll never leave me.
That's right.
And I started to I started to really embrace that when a dear friend of mine told me, wherever you go, we go with you, wherever you go. And that was Mr. Joe. Mr. Joe shared that with me, and he said, you know, your mom will never leave you. You take her with you wherever you go, because all those memories are in your heart. And when I really received that, and I felt confident in where I was, you know, as a daughter, as myself, and I said, you know what, I gotta live. I gotta live the rest of my life and live it, because I have already poured that part of my life with my mom, and she would want me to live the rest of my life and to be whole and not to grieve her not being here. So I believe you opening up and sharing your feelings tonight was the beginning of your process of rediscovering who you are, Dee Dee, and, you know, being able to enjoy the rest of your life. So I just, you know, want to encourage you that I understand where you are, and I've been there, and I know that there is more. And that's what I share that with you.
Wow. Thank you so much. That was very touching. And I appreciate that. Yeah, more than you know.
And I know that. And you know, that's what family is all about. You know, sometimes family is not blood. Sometimes you know, people and you connect for a reason, you know, and you're open, you can share those things, and that's what life is all about. So
right. You're so right. Yeah.
Keep pushing, sis.
I will. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Amen. All right, guys. Well, we are at the hour, and it has been an honor to be with each of you tonight. And Joe, I think we've been building this platform for a little over a year now, and I think the seed is, I think it's harvesting up, you know. And we have definitely been waiting and preparing for this for a long time, and I hope you guys never get tired of you know, loving on God and trusting God and going through the building blocks and all that kind of stuff. Because I heard Fabiola say something in the end. She said, it must be good. Whatever it is God is doing, it must be good. So on that, we're going to say thank you to everybody for joining in tonight. Each one of the sessions are recorded, so we do send out the replay so that you can go back and listen to it over and over again. And I pray that something was said tonight that, you know, just gave you a little bit of hope and a glimpse that you're not in this thing by yourself. It's a lot of us out there. We just need to find the right place to be in, to where we can shed some of that stuff off of us and invite somebody to join in. Come on in and be a part of the party, because we're going somewhere this year. You know, we're going there, wherever there is. We're going to trust in the Lord to take us there. We're not going to be over there making up our own little concoctions trying to get there. We're going to trust in the Lord as we get there. But before we close, I'm going to ask Mrs. Fabiola if she will close us out in prayer. And then invite you guys to join us back again every Thursday night at 7:00 p.m. right here for Singles Let's Talk. Miss Fabiola, if you'll take us out.
Heavenly Father, we come to you in the name of Jesus. We thank you for taking us through the day. We thank you, O Lord, for bringing us into 2022, not only into January, but into the 13th day of the month. We woke up with you by our sides, and we pray that you will be with us throughout the rest of the night, covering our families. Cover us, O Lord, Father, from the enemy. Father, form a hedge of protection around us. Send your angels to go before us. Christ in us, Christ beneath us, Christ above us, Christ to our left, Christ to our right. Father, as we seek to come forth with your plan and to be in divine alignment with your plan, we pray that, Father, that you will give us the peace, be still. We pray that we will continue to come forth with you in our presence, with you in the forethoughts of our memories and everything that we do, oh Lord. Father, we come before you and we ask that you make the crooked places straight. May you mend broken hearts. May you bring revelation to where there's confusion. And may you bring clarity, O Lord, because you are not the author of confusion. We pray that you will give us wisdom, because you said you will not withhold any good thing from us. And we only need to ask you and you will give it to us. You said, ask and we shall receive. Seek and it shall be given to us. Seek and we shall find. Knock and it shall be given to us, Heavenly Father. We ask, we knock, we seek. We know that no good thing that you will withhold from us. Perfect everything that concerns us, Heavenly Father, until we meet again. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Amen. Thank you guys for joining in tonight. We'll see you back again on next Thursday night at 7:00 p.m. in Jesus' name.
Yes. Goodbye, everybody.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.